Hi, welcome to the award-winning Ed Brown Show. And I mean, I hit the jackpot. You know what? I got outstanding councilman here, Todd Turner. And who is this other guy? I don't know. That's Tony Knott. You've heard of him. He's in the House of Delegates. Now, these business sessions are over, but they are here to give you an idea what's coming up in 2016. Guys, welcome to the Ed Brown Show.
Yeah, appreciate the invitation. Always a pleasure to come back and speak with you about different things that are going on.
Tell us in your new position. I mean, how do you like it, and what do you propose?
Well, I mean,
in 3 seconds.
In 3 seconds. Right? No, it's been a great experience, and Tony knows that, having served in the county council before that. You know, as the chief legislative body for Prince George's County, you know, you have so much opportunity to impact people on a daily basis, and so that's what I've been trying to do over the last 8 months or so since I got into office. We've had some interesting discussions in the county over that period of time, and I'm sure we got some things that are definitely coming up that I think people will be happy about in Prince George's County. And so my role is to try to facilitate that and obviously respond to the constituents about issues that they have as well.
Oh, great. Tony, tell us, I mean, you're in a different environment now, but you know, you still got some hot issues going along, you know, people taxes and all that, and the National Harbor, and, you know, schools, you know, which one are you going to talk about?
Well, first, you know, again, it's a pleasure being here today. Again, Ed, you know, you were very pivotal in my county council days. You didn't give me a hard time, and I think the listeners appreciated that. But in the House of Delegates, one thing that I had to do, I had to go back to school. You know, being a product of the public school system. On the county council, I was one of 9, and House of Delegates, I'm one of 188. So I had to do a little bit more math. But you know, once I was able to do that, I came to realize the importance of relationships and partnerships. And Todd, being on the county council now, is a great partner because he knows the intricate workings of the county council. Now he's a county council person. And being in the House of Delegates, you know, we have a relationship where we can bring the best for Prince George's County. So it's all good. Now, as far as something serious, we have, you know, nothing really serious. National Harbor is coming. Was the MGM? It's coming in 2016, and I think I asked everybody to come down and, you know, visit. If you go down there today, you'll see that where there was a hole, now there's a building coming up, and so it's a beautiful site. It's a beautiful location. It's an honor to be able to represent the area, and I'm pleased to have been selected as one of 3 delegates and 1 senator to be that person.
Hey, fantastic. Todd, tell us, the county council, what about taxes? You know, a lot of people are sensitive to that there.
Oh yeah,
tell us a little bit about that. How do you think that's going to pan out?
Well, let me say this. You know, they always say, you know, it's a trial by fire, and as Tony knows, you know, Prince George's County has had trim since the late 70s, early 80s, and so the residents of the county spoke at that time, and they spoke since then about putting restrictions on our government when we're all going to do property tax increases or consideration of additional revenue. They want us to come back to them. So as part of obviously our budget discussion this year, our county executive proposed a substantial tax increase, 15 cents on a dollar, 15 cents percentage-wise. And so we went through a very vigorous and thoughtful, I would hope, conversation with the residents of the county and with the county executive about what this county can afford. One of the things that, as Tony indicated, you know, it's about a partnership between the county and the state. As part of that, and then obviously we advocated at the state level, and I know Tony did, and our Prince George's delegations both in the House and Senate. Obviously with the new governor, he made some decisions that unfortunately negatively impacted Prince George's County, whether it came to schools, to funding of other services that the residents of the county have come to expect. So our difficulty as the county council was to try to make up for that revenue that the governor decided not to spend, even though the General Assembly put the money in the budget.
Right.
So that's one of the reasons that we had to do that. But the second part of that is also, as a new council member, is to show some responsibility as well. Because when we're going to people to ask them to talk about the revenue stuff, and that's something I think, looking back on it, obviously not having that conversation before the county executive proposed his budget just made it worse. And I say, you know, as an elected official and representing my area, we got to be open to having that conversation because that's the only way we're going to improve as a county.
Very good. Tony, tell us, 2016 is coming up. What's new? What's going to be new?
Well, for me, I'm going to try
in 2 seconds.
In 2 seconds. There are several pieces of legislation that I tried to move last session. Being new, I wasn't that successful, but this session I will. One is a emergency response, motorcycle emergency response team in Dade County, Florida. They have a process, and also in Europe they have a process where if they have EMSs that ride motorcycles, and in congested areas where you can't get the large apparatuses through the highway, they have motorcycles with EMS trained that goes to stabilize the victim, and then they abstract that person, but they stabilize them, and that saves lives if you have a heart attack or whatever. So I'm trying to move that legislation, and hopefully it's a good piece of legislation that will happen. But in addition, there are several other pieces of legislation which I won't go into, but I'm trying to do something that's going to better Prince George's County. And again, I'm going to come to the council to ask for their support because, again, we work as a team, and a team for Prince George's County.
Okay, Todd, tell us about education. That's a big thing in Prince George County.
It definitely is. Obviously, this is the first week of school. I have 2 daughters in the public school system, so it's always both an exciting time, and they're unhappy too because their summer vacation is over. But that was one of the serious discussions that we had as part of the budget.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And one of the things that the county council did as part of the discussion on the budget was to request, for the last couple of years, but this year we'll be moving forward with it. We have not had an audit of the Prince George's County public school system in over 17 years.
I had some other people tell me that.
So, and this is a performance.
I think that was your proposal too, as I remember.
Well, it was the entire council actually to do that.
I think you introduced it. You know, I think it was good.
Yeah, we worked together because once again, it is about the responsibility. People want to know. Okay, we're spending $1.8 billion, which is almost 65% of our budget in Prince George's County on the public schools. So they want to know where that money is being spent before we go back and ask them
for more. All right. Okay, it's great to have you guys here, and I want to bring you back once the session's open. You know, and a lot of the things that you're proposing, you know, you need support from the people, and people have to realize that's part of their job too, is to keep their representative informed of things going on, because the representative need them too. Hey, this has been Ed Brown. See you next time. Hi, welcome back to the Ed Brown Show. Hey, look, you know, we have a young lady here. You've heard Emerge magazine. She's executive director. She's from Norfolk, Virginia, and she's here at the Ed Brown Show to let you all know what's happening. I mean, this is a national magazine. Welcome, Tiffany Boyle from Norfolk, Virginia. It's a really a great pleasure to have you on the show. You come all the way from Norfolk, Virginia to be on Ed Brown. You see what I was telling you people about. We have nothing but the best. Tell us about, how did you get involved into magazine of that caliber?
I wanted to help the people around me. Being in Norfolk, Virginia, also known as the Hampton Roads area, it's harder for individuals or professionals to be seen, to be advertised, to promote themselves. So I wanted to provide a good resource or a good place for them to do that. And a magazine was just the best platform because it comes out periodically and it's something tangible, and the professionalism is just part of who I am. Well,
yes,
thank you.
It's outstanding because I've heard of it before. And what about your staff? All of them in your age bracket, young?
Yes, actually,
Which is good.
I probably am one of the oldest people on my team. My graphic designer is in his 20s. My COO is in her 20s. My brand manager is older than me because you have to have people to definitely look up to and who've been in this business for a long time. So
fantastic. That's why I'm always for youth getting involved, because you're the future, you know. And this is what we have to do. We have to make sure. And you have a mentoring program with the magazine.
Yes,
Tell us about it.
We have a membership program, and within that membership, we also have a mentorship program where we have leaders who are dedicated to helping young entrepreneurs. And when I say young, I don't mean age. I mean if you're just starting in the business, or even if you've been in the business a long time and you need help on how to grow or how to sustain, our leaders are there to help you.
Well, what do you think of your person want to get involved in the media, and especially magazine? Some of the things they need to prepare themselves for.
Well, you have to have a tough skin. That's for sure.
Always in the media.
Yes. You have to know who you are, because there's so many different personalities, and you can alter several different ways. So you have to know who you are, stay focused on what your mission is, what your purpose is, and just go for it.
Well, tell us some of the things that you've highlighted in your magazine thus far.
We have highlighted, on our first issue, we had R&B singer LEELA James. So we're trying to bring entertainment and fashion into the business industry. It is a business all in itself, but people don't think of it as such. So we're trying to let everybody know, if you're an entrepreneur, you're in business for yourself, we are going to feature you. So LEELA James, you know, she's growing, she's emerging. So she was on our first cover. Our second cover is getting ready to come out, and he's international sensation. His name is Barry Conrad. He's actually an Australian singer who was on Australian X Factor in the top 12. So he just tells his story about how he started and how he's continuing to grow his business. And we feature people such as Tawana Williams, who's a lady who was born without arms, and she's a motivational speaker. She goes all around the nation, you know, with her message of hope and not to give up and not to be mediocre. So those are just a few examples of who you're going to see in our magazine and who's promoted over our social media outlets.
That's strength that you give and encouragement you give young people. One of the things that all of us run into, you know, I don't know what, maybe at home, everywhere, is funding. Now, do you get into setting up a program to sort of lead them around to the money?
Yes, we are actually getting ready to open up our resource page, which is going to lead you in all different directions of where you need to go, and finances is definitely one of them. And we also are, one of our leaders is a financial leader. We also have a tax leader to point people in the right direction for taxes, legal structures, how to get funding. We have a government leader, and she informs you on how to get government contracts, because that is very important. So that
a lot
resource,
of money there.
yes, yes, it is, and that's what we want to encourage people to not just sit back and say, "Oh, it's so hard." But there's several avenues and several different sites that can help you, people that can help you, and we are going to provide that all on our resource page, which should be coming out in the next month.
Is that right?
Yes.
Who are you featuring?
On the resource page?
Yes.
Oh, it's just links, just a lot of links, questions, common questions that are answered for you, just all on one page on our website.
Yes, good. So which way are you going as far as recruiting the young people? Are you going through the colleges, or just how are you doing that?
Yes, we utilize a lot of interns. So I am building relationships with colleges. Right now I have Hampton University, who is going to provide interns. I also go through internships.com, so I get interns from all over.
Virginia Union? You have been over
I
there?
haven't contacted them yet, but if they're watching, they can contact me. But yes, I'm going to start reaching up more up north as well, like George Mason, Howard University, because we want to get them from the ground up.
Right, because that's really, you know, getting them in that type of environment as early as possible.
Yes.
Because we were discussing this plan that some corporations have that's coming out. It was about a month ago, you know, with Starbucks and Walmart, and their age bracket was, which surprised me, usually it's not that young, it's 16 to 24 exposure. And you were saying that's the way it should be.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
they really haven't been most of the time. They want after youngsters graduated, they're really in a financial bind. They need a
Right.
job.
Yes.
But this prepares them to get into the business world.
I think it's also good too to get them at a young age because they're more moldable. They have great ideas. They're very innovative, and it gives them real life practical situations versus regular traditional education, which
Right.
teaches you and gives you your foundation. But real life scenarios is what people learn off of the
But
best.
because I'm glad you mentioned that, because most of us, I guess I'm guilty too of that. We look at a young person, we figure they don't know nothing. They haven't been anywhere. They don't know. But I've stressed the future is in the young people.
Yes.
And one of the things that I stressed is I get some flack from some educators. I said education. I said it should be free. My God. I said you make it so that when a youngster graduated from college, they got a house note that they had to pay auto loan, the school loan and all of that. I said it's ridiculous, and I think education is as far as funding is way overpriced. That, and the reason is that I think the young people are the future, and you
Yes.
want to make that avenue easier
Right.
for them.
Right.
Don't make, oh, well, I can't afford to do it. Most people make selection of colleges based on how much it costs.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? Although they have the intelligence in that to go anywhere, but one of the factors is that I can't afford it. It's ridiculous.
I agree. I agree totally. We do need to change our education structure.
Yeah, I think they really had the politicians on here early, and that's one thing I've talked to them about. I get flack, from a lot of educators. I say, well, look, they're the future. I don't see why the government, everyone, don't want to invest in the young people,
Right.
because they have ideas that we've never thought about. You know what I mean? If in fact we did the thing the same way that our mother, father, and grandfathers did, we wouldn't be anywhere.
Right.
It's the fact that you are an example of progress. And this is where you have to look at education as far as young people. And then you get involved in a magazine. Now, how old is this magazine?
Emerge, the magazine, this one that I have is only a year old.
Only
Yes.
a year old.
Yes.
And as far as I'm concerned, I've been seeing it for years.
Well, there wasn't another older version of Emerge magazine that BET had years ago, back in the 80s. And so we love the name, and it means so much.
That
so.
name, Emerge, that's the thing that's very catching.
Yes.
I like that, because first thing a person want to do, just like you're an advertiser, emerge. What is that about? That your curiosity. You want to see what's going on with that, and your feature articles. How you make those selections?
We have a committee. We get a lot of people requesting to be in the magazine, and so we just look at their credentials, look at the type of business they're in, their social media following, what are they doing in their community, things like that.
Right. Now, I think that's a good criteria.
Yes.
What are they doing in the community?
Yes, yes.
Because that's so important, especially for the young people. Programs for the young people, to get involved. I know the churches have done a terrific job on that, programming and things of that nature. Because of the different situation that the young people are, the environment now is different than it was 30, 40 years ago,
Right.
And those are things that have to be realized, and you can't just sweep it on the rug. You got to deal with it. See?
That's right.
And see, that's what most of us feel. You make a comparison of what you did 40 years ago. Okay, well, the environment has changed.
Right.
Right. So that's the thing that some of us, forget. The environment you got to deal with the changed environment.
And that you have to constantly
Not-
emerge.
Yeah, not what grandmom did. And
Right.
You know what I mean? Those days are over. Just like a good example of that is with the electronics, you know, with the cell phone and all. Hey, when the last time you used a pay phone? Have you? When the last time you seen a pay phone? You had to put a quarter in it.
It provides a good foundation, that's for sure.
But the fact that electronics, you find out, hey, look, you know, hey, look, you can talk to somebody just like that, you know, you just push a button, boom, boom, boom. And the thing that I like, my grandchildren give me a hard time on it, you know, is that you have all those things on there, and the only thing you like is text and Google. I said, that's all.
Well, I say Google knows everything, so.
I say, that's my communication line. I say, if I don't know something, text it, you know.
That's
if
right.
I want to say something, I don't have to worry about a busy signal or listening to somebody say, oh, well, so-and-so called me back. You know, I say, all I do is whatever I had to say, I just text it, boom, I'm finished with it.
There you
know?
go.
I think I get teased about that by the younger people. Yeah, I said, that's a great thing. You don't have to, you can't drive down the road and say, oh, I forgot to call Mary. And you say, well, this gas station didn't have one. No, you get in the gas station and it takes your money and you don't get a dial tone. And it was the only dime or quarter that you had, you know.
Right.
So, so what are you gonna do? This is just example of progress, you know. And those are things that we have to realize, you know. And seeing a young person, executive director, I know you have personnel. You're dealing with personnel. You're dealing with individuals that need counseling. You do, especially in business.
Yes.
You know, because nothing is guaranteed, you know what I mean? And most of us, I find, we have a tendency to believe that failure is bad. But if you live long enough, you know that you learn more from failure than you do success.
It's very true.
Because you're going to fail, I don't care who you are, you're going to fail more things than you will ever be
Right.
successful in. And that's what you have to fight.
Right. I attempted to do the magazine, I want to say 2011. And I didn't have the right team. I didn't have the right, didn't go out and network or collaborate and things like that. So, and I was also going to school at the same time.
Right.
So I would call that my first attempt a failure.
Yeah.
And then 2-3 years later, I said, let me do this again.
Right,
With the right team behind me,
Right.
with,
You change your environment.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
See, and that's what you have to do, you know. And that's what really the young people, they have to understand that no one is successful at anything overnight.
That's right.
You know, it
work extremely hard.
Right.
Yes.
And then finally your mistakes make you stronger.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
because of the fact that you say, well, look, it didn't work before. I'm not trying that again. You know what I mean? So what do? So what do you think as far as encouraging young people to go in business? What are the things that you would suggest?
First is know what you want to do. And that comes from knowing you. That's like my number one message is know who you are first. And then I would do a lot of research. Again,
Hey, that's
Google.
the word. That's the word, research.
Yes.
That's what I tell people. I say a lot of things, sure, a lot of things you're not going to know about. But if you have the resources to find out, that's
Right.
the greatest tool
Right.
that you can
Right.
have. You know, for instance, like a lot of people, they don't understand the stock market. But I say, if you would understand it if you used it. And that's what people don't understand, the stock market up and down and how it affects. Well, if you, once in a while, what you do, you expose yourself to the Wall Street Journal.
Right.
and you said, "Hey, I didn't know this was the, and I didn't know this affected this, affected
That's
that."
when I say they have YouTube videos, you have Google, you have Wall Street Journal,
Yeah.
you can just go to Barnes and Nobles or any bookstore and just go to the finance section and surround yourself with all of that information,
Right.
so that way you can know what you want to do if we're talking about stocks in order on how to use the stock market. Then I would say find groups that are about the same thing. So if we're going with finances, find financial groups that meet up. Go network, meet with
Right,
people,
right.
find a mentor
Exactly.
to learn from. Those are all
Exactly.
things. And then you have to know what your weaknesses are,
Yeah.
and you have to surround yourself with those people who those strengths are your weaknesses.
That's the key, and that's what you're millionaires. Most of them people don't understand is the different companies and different businesses. Yeah, they're not expert, but they're smart enough. I'm gonna
Go get one.
Tiffany. I'll get Tiffany to do this. I'll get to do the things that you have weaknesses.
Right.
All of us have weakness.
Right.
I mean, we may be a CEO and all like that, but it's certain things that you're not able to.
Right.
You don't have time, and then you don't know the market.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? It means something different. You don't know the market, so
Yes.
what you do, you hire somebody.
In my instance, I don't do graphics at
Yeah,
all,
right.
so I go find a graphic designer.
artists, yeah,
Right. I
So,
didn't know.
But that's the approach that some people don't take. They feel that when they get into the business world, they have to know every aspects of it.
Right. Right.
See,
And
but
you don't.
you've shown, you get into the business and, hey, you need a graphic designer, you need changes, you need someone to do taxes.
Right. Right. Because I can't do it.
You used to do it, but then you find out the rules for this, and the
Right.
rules for this has changed. So you get an expert to
Yes.
do that.
Yes.
See?
Definitely.
And that is the way to, and like I said, the mechanism, like the electronic mechanism, boy, I just enjoy it. But I don't get into the complex.
Right.
I don't get into the complex thing. I leave that up there. And what happens with that is I said, hey, look, every week got a new app. An app for this and an app for that.
That is true.
That is true. What you have to do, you have to be able, you have to have an expert to determine what app you need and what app you don't need. Because you don't need all of them.
Because you can get overwhelmed.
Yeah,
That is
right.
for sure.
If you put every app that does advertise, I mean, what are you gonna do with it?
Run out of space on your
Yeah,
phone.
right. That's what I'm saying. You run out of space, and you wonder what's going on. That's the way I do, But you get an expert that looks at it, boom, 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 boom.
Yes.
That's it, right?
Yeah.
Well, what are you about? Tell us about male and female. Do you find that most females involved in your type of business are male?
Females, actually.
Female?
They are taking over the entrepreneur small business world. So
Right.
you run into a lot of female entrepreneurs, very strong-willed individuals, and everybody that I have been blessed to run into has always wanted to help.
Great.
So I love it.
Okay, great. Congratulations, and
Thank
continue to do the work that you're doing. We're proud of you, and that's what we want to do. We want to get these young people involved. All right. This has been Ed Brown. See you next time. Don't forget, what is it? Emerge. That's the name.